Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Karen.
Hello.
Harry.
Hello.
We thought we'd get together and have a little chew the fat on a few things. Carrie reached out from way across the ditch recently.
It's a ditch.
Oh, hang on. Got noise coming through. Let me just get rid of that. At least we know it's working.
Is it me?
Hey.
I'll mute mine.
Yeah, how do I mute that? No, I think it's good. I think we're good. I think we got rid of it, I think. Oh no.
Yeah, I think it's you, Kerry.
Okay. Okay,
right.
I know what it is. It's the fan. Shall I turn the fan off?
Oh, that means you're going to cook.
I'm going to cook. Yeah, but I can do it as long as you don't mind a sweaty face.
No, it's not the fan. I found it. It was me.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Right. Phew. I'm not the culprit. I can sit here and talk to you in peace.
Anyway, we thought we'd get together for another chat because, you're coming back over to New Zealand, aren't you?
That's the plan, indeed. I am. Yes, I'm getting ready to put jeans and jumpers on again because right now I'm not.
You are sweltering.
I am. Yes. It's nice.
So tell us about what you're doing in Thailand again for anyone who hasn't come across you before, Carrie.
I live here. This is my home. I live in Thailand. I came all the way over here back in 2016, 2019. It became permanent for me. But I fell in love. I came over to study yoga, but then I fell in love with Muay Thai, and then I haven't left since. So I live my life here. I work location independently, so I work online, so I can live anywhere in the world whilst I'm working, and I train and fight Muay Thai professionally. So that's my pastime, it's my hobby. But that's what keeps me here in Thailand. But not necessarily that's the only thing that keeps me here in Thailand. It's an incredible country with a wonderful culture, and I enjoy it very, very much, including the heat. No, I don't enjoy the heat.
You just can't get used to the heat, eh? Yeah, I
can't.
love Thailand as well. I'd love to go back. In fact, I had a traditional Thai massage yesterday, and it really all that came through again for me. Like, I've really got to go back there because I actually learned traditional Thai massage when I was over there. Yeah, and I learned in Chiang Mai, and this lady that was
that's where I live.
And that's where you live, and that's where she studied as well. She's done all the schools. But just to change the subject slightly, what she started doing on me yesterday was something called toxin, which I hadn't heard of before and I hadn't experienced in Thailand. But they basically hammer you with a mallet.
Oh, yeah. And that's very traditional. Yeah, very traditional.
That was amazing.
It's normal here. You go to one of the temples, and because this is how massage is done here in Thailand, you just lay on a very thin mattress on the floor. It's got a sheet. Well, it hasn't even got a sheet on it. It's like it's got a throw on it. And you lay down, and then they get out their little hammer, and you're wearing these pajamas. These on pajamas, and they're and there's like 20 of you in the room, and all you can hear are these hammers going off. Yeah. But I want to ask you a question, Deb. How much did you pay for your Thai massage?
Oh, don't shut up. No, it was like $145.
Yeah, so I had a 2-hour massage, not yesterday, but the day before, and I paid a grand total of less than $40 for a 2-hour massage. Yeah. Anyway,
I want to go back.
Massage. But I live in Chiang Mai, but right now I'm in Koh Phangan, and it's really hot in the south.
Right, what are you doing down south?
I'll just come to visit friends and just. I like to flitter around, even though my base is in the north. I do like to come down to the south because I was here for about 6 years in the south. So,
okay.
I've got many friends here. Yeah.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So we were going to have a bit of a chit chat, about not about Thailand and not about Muay Thai and not about Thai massage, but more around the science and spirituality of manifesting and successfully manifesting. Yeah. So is this something you've been delving into a lot recently or for ages, or because it's an interesting topic?
Yeah, it's just something that I like to share with my clients and people so that they can truly understand how to create what it is that they want in their life and what exactly it is that stops them from doing so. Because there's a lot of information out there about manifestation or how to create your life, right? But some of it is incomplete, and then people get frustrated and they wonder why they can't create the life that they want. They wonder, they believe that, you know, this is their lot, or they believe that they have bad luck, or that they believe that they don't have manifesting powers, or what have you. It's a lot of the time it's because the story is incomplete. But when we truly understand, not to make it easy, but when we understand exactly what the components are and what the missing pieces of information are, then everything is completely within your responsibility. Everything is within your control. And then it's just up to you, based on what choices you make, as to whether you do actually end up manifesting and creating what it is that you want. And a lot of it has to do with understanding how we manifest, like truly how we manifest, but also how we create, like why we need to create a future vision.
Yeah, well,
and how that supports us.
Yeah, and from my perspective, that would be because it's so easy to fall back into the past, because, you know, we sort of, I bet a lot of us have grown up just thinking, well, we are the culmination of all the experiences that we've had to date. That makes me, right? Whereas actually, nowadays, I'm challenging myself that is not me. I am me in the present, and I can be me in the future, who I want to be. But what has happened in the past is simply my take and story on a series of events that have gone on in my life and emotions that have attached to those events, and I've added meaning to it, but that doesn't define me, and it doesn't have to define me moving forward.
I think that's the key one. It doesn't have to define you moving forward. So the past technically doesn't exist. Where is it? It doesn't exist, right? And everything we do is not because of what happened in the past. It's because of what we want to experience and create in the future. People, in order to manifest, in order to create what you want, people need to understand that the cause is in the future. You get out of bed today in the morning to create something for yourself in the future, not to create something in the past, but to create in the future. So attention, intention and attention. Intention, your attention is a currency. We all know that, because people on the social media and all of these apps and, you know, everything is all of the AI, they're all grappling for our attention, right? They know and they realize that it is a currency, because what is attention? Attention is energy. Now, when we say that the cause of what we are experiencing is because of what's in the past, what happened to me in the past, what I'm doing is I'm putting my currency, I'm putting my attention on a past experience. And that is why that past experience will re-exert itself. That's why you keep experiencing past experiences. They keep repeating themselves, because you are putting the blame, the cause, on something that happened in the past. You're putting your attention, your energy there. So of course, we are, our quantum field is full of all possibilities, all potentials, everything that could possibly happen. But where you put your currency, your attention, where you set your intention, is what you will recreate, or what you will create. So when you keep blaming the past, that's what you will create, and that's the future potential that you will pull forward, because you keep putting your attention there again. And if we put our attention on a different future that we want to experience, and a different future that we want to create, then that is what we can experience. However, tell me if you want me to pause. Do I need to stop first?
Well, actually, I was going to say, maybe you want to try turning off your fan. I'm sorry if that means I'm going to have to swelter.
No. No, that's absolutely. 1 second.
It's interfering with the audio a little bit, yeah.
Very much so, actually. Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Sounds
the flow
like
of the air, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds
There
like
we
she's
go.
out of water.
Yeah, I've turned that off, and I turned my camera off so you didn't have to see my bum as I got up.
That's all good.
Is that better for you?
Yes,
Much.
that's much better.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, go on, please, Karen.
No, I was just saying that it's interesting how the air of the fan was affecting the whole audio and also the frequencies and everything of everything. So I do believe that a lot of manifestation is a lot to do with our frequency as well,
Yes,
in our present
right.
and in our future. And
Yes.
so it's actually, there's so much to it, but there's not really. It's quite simple, really, isn't it? You know.
Well, the idea of it is simple, but actually doing it might not be because of the frequencies of what you just said. I mean, manifestation technically only takes 33 seconds because of the way the quantum waves work. So you sit there, you visualize the future that you want or the thing that you want to manifest. You send out that brainwave, right? And it takes 33 seconds for that brainwave to go out and then to come back to you. But when we send this out, so in our quantum, the way that the science works is that it is a double quantum wave. You send out the thought, the idea of what it is that you want, but that wave then has to come back to you. Why? Because when we set our idea on the future that we want, when we set our intention, we then need to allow that future to come back and change us. If I want something different, I can't expect to create it from the same. I have to change. Right? So how do I change? Well, that double quantum wave will come back to me and pull me towards it. So I have to change. And this is where chaos comes in, and we can talk about that later. But your frequencies, like you were saying, Karen, when we do have these past experiences, our ego will judge the experience as good or bad. Us as a human being manifested here on this earth, we are only here to do three things, really. Create, experience, and discreate. So we create the experience, we experience the emotion, the energy, and then once we've finished with that, we can discreate it. We're done. We've done our job. We've sent the feedback up to whatever you want to call it, God, universe, consciousness, the all-knowing, whatever you want to say. And then once we've finished with that energy, once we've finished with that emotion, we can discreate it. It can end. We don't need it again. However, our egos will judge something as good or bad. And when we experience something bad, we will stop it. We will suppress it. We will say, I don't want to have this energy. I don't want to experience this energy anymore. It's not very pleasant. And when we stop that flow of energy, when we stop that experience, I don't know, pain, grief, anger, whatever it is, misery, apathy, boredom, we suppress it into the psyche, and we also suppress it into our bodies, because this is an energy, and energy flows, and energy doesn't disappear. We know this, right? It just transmutes, it changes. So when this energy of pain or grief or apathy, boredom is flowing and we stop it, where does that energy go? Well, we actually suppress it, and it changes into protein molecules, and it crystallizes into our DNA. And this is where you get suppressed emotions. This is why you have pains along certain points in your body. And that's where the Thai massage comes in, right? That's to help to release these suppressed emotions, this crystallized energy. And when you have these suppressed emotions stuck in your body, in your psyche, it affects your frequency. It lowers your frequency to that which is stuck in your DNA. And then what happens is, another reason why we keep recreating the same shitty patterns or the same behaviors or the same people or the same situations that we don't want, is because we're not finished experiencing this energy. And what this energy will do, even though it's crystallized and stuck in your body, you'll go, oh, you need to experience me. Oh, I'm still not being felt. Oh, you haven't finished with me. I'm still here. So it keeps reasserting itself and trying to pull forward that future that you don't want, but it's pulling it forward because you haven't finished with the emotion. So if you want to raise your vibration, if you want to raise your frequency so that you can manifest better, we have to be prepared to release the trapped trauma and the trapped emotions that are stored in our body and stored in our psyche. So that we can manifest something different. Otherwise, you're just going to keep on this loop.
And that's where the deep healing comes in, isn't it, Carrie?
Yes,
because if we don't
absolutely.
do the healing of our trauma, and it'll keep on biting us on the bum until we release it. And that's, stored cells, stored parts of the body. It's like the cellular memory is real.
Yes.
And if we don't release that cellular memory in whichever way works for you, it can be essences, it can be Thai massage, it can be moving the body, it can be doing deep inner work, meditation, it can, fill in the blank, whichever works.
Yes.
And it's basically, that's what I believe, this is my deep belief, is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience for us to learn as much as we possibly can while we're on this earth.
Yes.
And I suppose what I've learned recently, in the last few years, is about much more being the observer rather than being drawn into the gossip, into people's other people's dramas, because other people's dramas can affect us just as much as our own dramas if we allow it.
Yeah. And with regards to that point, when you and this is something that I keep, I'm working very, very hard with my clients, is they will come to me with the story, a lot of the story. Now, when you identify with the story, you can't let the story go. You believe you are the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how are we meant to let go of all of I keep doing that as if there's this trapped emotion in there.
Yeah.
How are we meant to, because it's all one big story, right? A story. Yeah. It's all one big thing. How are we meant to release these trapped emotions? I mean, obviously there's lots of things, but it's becoming the observer of the emotion rather than believing you are the emotion. Because when you observe the emotion, it can flow freely. And what happens is you've released that energy, or once you are experiencing energy and you disassociate and you become the observer, that energy is then free to flow back up to the brain, and it goes into an organ, what's called the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is actually a ring, and it has a twist which creates a Mobius strip, and that energy comes up into the corpus callosum. It flows around, and because it loops over on itself, it cancels itself out, and that's the process of discreation. You've finished with that energy. That can only happen when you are the observer. If you become the emotion, or you get involved into the story and you're holding on so tight to, he said this, she said that, they did this to me. Oh yeah, but it's not my fault because so-and-so did that last year. When you hold on to that story, you keep that in place and it cannot flow.
And for many, of course, the story is the identity too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I know about identity shifts.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the story of being sick, like I've got MS or I've got cancer, my dis-ease. That's a big one, isn't it, really? Because if we identify with whatever's been diagnosed, then it's a big story, and it's also a very big story to overcome.
It is, and it becomes your identity. But what it does is it serves you. Now, there are going to be some people this is going to be very uncomfortable, and they're going to disagree with me, or they're going to point the finger of blame at me. But it's what keeps the story in place. Yeah. When we latch on to something like that, we put ourselves into a position of victim, and we hold on to self-pity. Why do we do that? So that we can manipulate and get what we want. It's a
Absolutely.
learned behavior as a child. When you were a child and you were helpless and you couldn't give yourself what you needed, whether that be food or something practical, or whether it be something such as love or affection, when you couldn't give that to yourself, what did you do? You did the only thing you could do, which was manipulate.
Yeah,
you manipulated your parents to give you what you needed. But then we take that learned behavior into adulthood, and that's where we then use pity, self-pity. Feel sorry for me, because if you feel sorry for me, then you will do whatever is necessary to make me feel better. It's just a way of survival. But self-pity and victim, they cannot go they can't cohabit with responsibility and a conscious creator.
And manifestation of your best life.
Absolutely, exactly that. Because in order to manifest what you want, you have to take full responsibility that everything is your creation, even all the shit that you don't want. And when you take that responsibility, you are finally in the most fully powerful position to change it. When you believe it's outside of yourself, when you're in a place of victim of self-pity and of manipulation, you can't change it because you're putting it on, all the blame onto other people, or you're expecting them to sort it out for you. They can't. Only you can.
I had a really interesting experience early on in my career. And there was a lady who came to see me who had MS. She was in a wheelchair. And after a few months, she was starting to get better, and she was actually on a walking stick and could actually do things for herself. Then I didn't see them again. She cancelled her appointment, and I'd got to know her family because they used to come along with her, you know. And one day I bumped into her husband in the supermarket. And as you know, in the UK, that's not a common occurrence, Kerry. You know, you don't tend to bump into many people, you know, that you know, in a big town anyway. And basically, I said, "Oh, how's your wife?" And he went, "Oh, she's back in the wheelchair." And I said, "Oh, well, why did she stop working? You know, why did she stop doing what she was doing?" And he said, "Well, simple, really, Karen." He said, basically, because we didn't do everything for her anymore.
Yes. Exactly that.
There was the payoff of being sick and being the victim. So I can completely relate to what you're saying, because it makes, you know, it's like, I couldn't believe it personally, you know.
And if you want to get out of victim, you do have to say, okay, how is this serving me? What am I getting out of this? What am I not doing for myself?
Yeah. And I think we can all identify. Sorry, we've got a fly going in.
I can hear it.
It's really quite interesting, isn't it? Really, I think we can all identify our victim. You know, our part that we have to play with it, and it's really quite an interesting one. You know, like for people who are sick, that's probably the only time that they got attention as a child.
Yes.
And so you can understand it, really. And it's the same with so many other parts of our story, is you can identify with it if you're empathetic. You don't have to necessarily play with it, but it's basically right. Yeah, because I was talking to someone this morning, actually, very similar sort of situation about getting out of her story. Quite an interesting journeys, isn't it, really? So what do you do?
Yeah, what do you get out of your story regularly? Because we can slip into it hundreds of times a day. We can
go to the emotion,
uplifting, you know, hypnotherapy or a meditation, and come out of it and experience something in our environment that just sets us straight into our story again. It
takes us back into the same frequency, doesn't it? And it's like, you know, I've sort of had clients who we found that the reason for their illness was geopathic stress. So geopathic stress is negative. Geopathic stress is where the frequencies are not conducive to good health. And so there was one particular lady, she was sleeping every night on what's called a geopathic stress cross, where you've got a double whammy. So you've got this negative energy coming right through. And so they understood that. And so they went, right, okay. They sold their house, because I went in and doused their house, you know. They sold the house, they moved into another house. Instead of getting someone to go and check it to see if there was a negative cross, what happened? They moved from one frequency to the same frequency in a different house because it felt comfortable, because we're comfortable in our uncomfortableness.
Wow. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Operating in alignment to their in their negatives.
In this story, in their negative story. And it's comfortable though. And because let's face it, change is uncomfortable.
Yes, I was just going to say it. So you were talking about that before, Carrie, about change. How we have to, change is inevitable. We have to keep changing to call in this future state. So is the answer to always be in a state of discomfort?
Hopefully not always, but when you realize that there are no straight lines in the universe, that everything is a wave, then you can deal with the ups and downs a lot easier, because whenever you're in a down, an up is coming. It has to come. Right, we will never be. I mean, and if you want a monotone life, then that's an easy exit strategy, because if you want a monotone life, then you've got death wish. Surely you're on your way out. But so, in order to create the future, when we want to experience something different, because that's why we're here. We're here to expand as spiritual beings, right? That's what creates a life of joy and purpose, is through spiritual expansion and becoming and leaning into that. If we're going to expand, then we have to want something different. We want to change. So we need that future vision of what it is that we want to change into, of what we want to transform into. Because without that, like I said to you earlier, intention is a currency. So how do we know where to put our intention? How do we know where to put our attention if we don't know what it is that we are creating? So and therefore we need to know what we're creating, so we know where to put the attention into what potential future that exists out there, because there's unlimited. And remember, if you don't choose the future that you want, your past creations will keep pulling forward the future, the past creations that you've already had, because you're not choosing. And to not choose is still a choice. So we have to identify the future experience that we want to have, put our intention into that and our attention onto that future, and then we put out the manifestation, the desire. That double quantum wave comes back to us, and it will drag us forward to that potential possibility. Now, this is where it comes in, right? If your current state is here and you want to create something that's here, well, what is in between? Chaos, change, the chasm. Why? Because you can't create something new from the old. The old has to break. And you have to cross this chasm. You have to cross this what we call a healing crisis, in order to change and to transform into this something new that you're trying to create. And then eventually it will move down. So that will become your normal. And then you'll want to expand again. So again, the reason for the future vision is so that we can sustain the chaos, the discomfort, the emotional turmoil, the physical pain potentially that will exist as we break down and turn into something new.
So that vision has to be very strong.
It does indeed. You have to know why you are expanding. You have to understand and know within every cell of your being why you want to change. Because if you get halfway through this healing crisis and it becomes too uncomfortable, you're just going to go back down to the path of least resistance. And these are the people that sit on the sofa that never change their lives, because they're not willing or cannot or don't understand this entire process. And they don't have that future vision. They don't have their why, what it is that they're fighting for. So that's why future vision is important. And do we have to constantly change? Well, as a spiritual human being, we should want to change all the time.
And we also need, don't we, to be surrounded by people who can be our cheerleaders, that can actually, be fully involved in us and cheer us on to make sure, because as you know, I sort of like have a weight drop program, and I've seen it time and time and time again where people are getting amazing results. They're looking amazing. And their so-called friends say, oh, you're getting a bit too thin now. You need to make sure that you don't go too far. And here, have a cake. Or you can have one, you know, you can have that glass of wine, you can have that. And it's like it's not just self-sabotage. It's surrounding yourself with people who are going to support you instead of take you back to where they're comfortable actually having you too.
Yeah. You need that to help you sustain this healing crisis, to go through this gap. And what they're doing, I always call it the bucket of crabs syndrome. You know, when you have like all the crabs, and as soon as one crab tries to break free, the other crab will grab it and pull it back down. Why? Well, why do your friends do that? Why do people around you do that? Because they can no longer get out of you what it is that they were getting out of you before. If you expand, if you change your frequency, if you elevate, if you become a better version of yourself, you threaten their existence and their survival in the way that they want to be. So what they will do is, because I mean, you might be raising your vibration, your frequency, and they're like, no. So they try to pull you back down to because they don't want to be alone down here, and they don't want to put in the effort to try and rise up with you and to meet you, not necessarily even in the same way. Maybe they're not interested in losing weight, but maybe they want to be able to touch their toes, you know, and start doing yoga, you know. But because they're not willing to put the effort in, and they are the ones that don't want change, that don't want to expand spiritually, then they will try to pull you back down.
Absolutely.
So, I remember when I studied yoga for the first time. I've done a few teacher training courses, and the first one, I never understood why we had to start at 6 a.m. and finish at 10 p.m. So, you know, can't I have a break? But the reason for it, the reason why there are these intensives, is because if you're trying to change the very fabric of your being, your mindset, the way you think, the way you act, the way you operate, the way you eat, the way you move, if you're trying to purge and get rid of all of the crap, all of the shit, again, ways of thinking, ways of being, as well as physically, every time you stop and you go out back into the normal world, they will pull you back down. They will drag your frequency back down. And then you come back into the yoga class the next day and you start from zero again. So the idea of when you're doing something so intense is to put you in that bubble surrounded by the like-minded frequencies and brain waves and thought patterns, so that you do have the actual full opportunity to create the new habit and take that full step across the healing crisis to make this your new normal, to embed it into your way of being.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've experienced that with trainings and stuff as well, where, you know, when I did medical herbalism, we did every 6 months, it was a 2 weeks residential. And it wasn't just herbs, but it was natural healing techniques and stuff. And boy, oh boy, you come out of there very different.
Yes, you do. And you have to be prepared for coming back into the normal world. And if you've not fully integrated it, if not fully embedded it, then coming back into the normal world is hard. I mean, I've just done 30 days of ayahuasca. I know what that feels like. You know, and you have to be prepared, because your old life is still there operating in the old same way. And like I said, that future vision has to be so strong that you know why you did that in the first place, and you know why you're saying goodbye to this old way of being. Because you're heading over here. If you don't have that future vision, then you come out of something like that and you just revert back to
go back. It's like when you go on holiday and it feels all new and sparkly and everything else, and literally you go back into your home and it's like the holiday never existed, because you're back in the same frequency, isn't it? Really, it's the same sort of thing, the same habits. And some habits are difficult to break when you're at home.
And that's why integration period, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big thing in the network marketing industry as well, because it attracts a lot of regular people who, want to dream of something bigger and better for themselves, but their general practice has been, working for the man and, going through the process, and they've never been in business for themselves. So the first thing that we need to do is to focus on our vision and our why, and it has to be so strong. They got that saying, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough. Really go there, really dig deep into why it is you're wanting to create this change in your life, because it's so easy to give up because it's not something that you're trained in, familiar with, and it's not easy, because you're stretching yourself every day. And the reason that image popped up on the screen before, I'll just add it now. This is what I'm doing. I am adding the visual. So this is me on a 5-day Bahamas cruise that I am calling in, and I'm looking at this image every day. I've made it with AI, which is, love it or hate it. I personally don't enjoy seeing people putting themselves out there as AI, but I use it personally and privately to encourage and motivate myself, because I'm actively visualizing. And I'm a highly visual person, so I need something like this.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you not just look at this image, but when you look at creating this image and becoming this image, how do you feel?
Excited and fun and playful.
When you think about the reality of creating this, what occurs for you? What feelings or emotions?
That's a bit different, because I know there's hard work involved.
So what feelings present themselves?
To get to this point.
When you think about having to do the work to get here,
a lot of effort, a bit of pain.
How does that make you feel?
Bit of pain, and constant change, strengthening.
But what's the emotion?
The emotion.
How do you feel when you think about creating this, manifesting this?
I feel excited. But on
the end result.
At the end result, yeah. In terms of doing it on the daily and the work that's required, how does it make me feel? I'm not sure I've really thought about that.
See, now this is a key when it comes to manifesting. So in order to manifest, we need 3 ingredients: imagination, desire, and expectation. You've obviously got the imagination here.
Yeah.
Right? We're born with imagination, even though life sucks our imaginative tools out of us, and we have to try and bring those back and develop them like a muscle, right? Daydreaming, etc. When was the last time you allowed yourself to just sit and daydream about what you want? We're taught to not do that. We're taught to be realistic, etc. So imagination we need, although we're born with it, we need to bring it back and reinvigorate it. Desire we are also born with. I mean, if you didn't have desire, you wouldn't have created this. So you've got desire, you've got the imagination. Now, expectation, how much do you actually expect? To what degree do you expect that this will happen for you? And it's this. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, what you mean, like in a percentage wise or what have you?
It's our level of expectation that will often interrupt the actual manifestation process. because it's when we think about creating something, manifesting something, if you have absolutely unwavering certainty that that is going to be your future, boom, you've got really high expectation. The chances are that you're going to create it. But life happens. Right? We have these suppressed emotions. We have these past experiences that we are holding on to. We have society conditioning and messaging, etc., that it's going to be difficult, that it's going to take a lot of hard work, that it's going to require a lot of strength. So those are three things I heard you say.
Yeah, maybe some deprivation.
Deprivation, that it has to be hard work and that you have to deprive yourself of something, right? So those thoughts, those are what we call secondaries, and that's what will block your manifestation, because that's what reduces your level of expectation. So when I think about, I've got a vision of me, not so long ago, a couple of years ago actually, when I was quite a few kilograms lighter, and I used that as my my driver, my imaginative tool. And when I look at that, when I visualize that in my mind, what do I think? Oh, that was just pure luck. I'm never going to get down to that again. I'm a few years older now. It's going to be even harder to do. Are these my thoughts? Or are they like the whole it's harder to lose weight when you're over 40 thing? Where has that come from? Like, really, where has it come from? Whose reality is that? Does it need to be mine? No, it doesn't. But it is, because I've allowed these frequencies to come into my mind. And now this expectation is mine, that it's harder to lose weight after 40.
Well, I'd actually, I'd disagree with you with that one, Carrie, because
I knew you would.
Because the expectation, the reason is just through my own experience. You know, when I was in my 40s, I was the best weight I'd been since I was my mid-teens, and then menopause hit. And as a practitioner, I never expected to be affected by menopause because I knew what to do. But there is the physiology that goes on due to stress. You know, the stress hormones of financial meltdown and parent dying in the UK caused me to go into so much chronic stress that I put on 25 kilos. However, it took me 3 years to find a solution, but I found a solution. But I never had that preconceived idea about weight and menopause. I never did. So whether that's just what I was supposed to do, to learn, to grow, and to get to my goal, because one of my goals was to create a weight loss business. So I did some visioning when I was, how old was I? 44, 45, when I decided, because I'd been working with chronic illnesses and I didn't want to do that anymore. And so I sat and what did I love and what did I do? I like to see people become the best version of themselves. And so that I was 44 then, and I wrote down that's what I wanted to do. But it took me putting on weight, and also, so maybe that was it. And then finding the solution to that weight. So maybe that was part of my vision. And so to go through that pain of putting the weight on was what you're talking about in a way. So my vision was to create a weight loss company. I called it then. Yeah. But to get there, I had to go through 6 years of putting weight on, a lot of weight on, and then finding a solution to it. So maybe that was part of my vision.
It would have been part of your creation.
Precisely, but part of the vision and how it came about. Because it never comes about the way you think it's going to come about, does it?
We never think about the how, or only think about what it is that you want. Don't think about how you're going to get it.
Well, I did, but it never came to pass. Yeah.
But then that's following the understanding or the belief that you have to grow through struggle and pain, but we don't.
Well, I think to understand real weight gain, hormonal issues, to really be empathetic, to understand what people are going through, it's much, much easier to do it if you've done it yourself. And so people can relate. So I'm not saying it has to be struggle, because I don't believe we do need struggle, but basically through experience, it's like having had chronic fatigue. I never believed that it was incurable, ever. So I got over that. But, it's sort of like, did we manifest these things to happen?
Yeah.
To help us grow?
But everything is choice. You could have had chronic fatigue but never decided to never have that, or put that into any of your products or services that you offer at all. I mean, there's many things that have happened in my life that I've created that no one would ever know about.
Well, I went on the journey of natural health because of the chronic fatigue. So if I hadn't have had chronic fatigue, I would probably never have become a practitioner that I am today.
Yeah, but that's choice.
If I hadn't have had glandular fever at 18 and had a very, very 3 months of being in bed because of a misdiagnosis that made me never trust doctors ever again, so that when I did get chronic fatigue, I didn't go to the doctors. I went for help elsewhere. So was that just my destiny to become what I love and is my passion? Did I have to go through all of that to get to where I am today? So you're saying is, no, you can just go, right, I want this, I'll visualize it. But that wasn't in my psyche to even visualize that.
Lots of questions at once. Right. Yeah, so destiny is changeable, because this is all an illusion. This is all a dream. This is your hologram, right? And if this is your dream, if this is your illusion, if this is, you've made this up, then you've also made up your purpose, and you've also made up your destiny. It's yours. So you can change your destiny.
I would say that I made a choice before I came here as to what I was going to do. So consequently, yes, you can. Of course, you can re-choose. You can re-choose anything.
You can change your destiny.
You can also take yourself away from it, but I believe you'll always end up in the place that you're supposed to be.
Yeah, but so destiny is making a profound choice. When you make such a profound choice, that becomes your destiny. And so all you need to do is to re-choose, and then you can change your destiny.
I hear what you're saying, but I still don't believe. I still believe that certain circumstances come along to help us move through things. Agreed
with that, based on the choices that you make.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I could easily have gone, oh, well, I'll go to the doctors, but I didn't, because I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to.
I've got a medical condition that I've been suffering from since I was 20-something. Have I made that part of my profession or anything like that? Do I make it publicly known? No, absolutely not, because I choose not to. But I could, because of my life experiences.
I didn't broadcast to the world I had chronic fatigue either when I was 25. I didn't. I just got on and went to find solutions with the people who I felt I could get solutions from. And when I got a solution, I went and trained in it. So therefore, did I meet these people along the way so that I made sure that I got the skills that I had to help others? Because I believe my destiny is to help as many people as want to be helped by me. And so that is my destiny. So did I subconsciously or consciously manifest those people to help me along the way so that I got the disease and basically help me along the way, and then end up doing what I do now?
Quite possibly.
So what I'm saying is that I believe that everything happens for a reason, and sometimes you don't actually know what your destiny is, because the universe has miraculous ways of getting you to where you need to go.
Your destiny is yours. It's your choice.
Yes, of course. Yes. Anyway, I think we're going to go around in circles here, so we'll change. Swift pivot.
Same with fate. Do you both believe in fate?
No.
Yeah. And you, Karen?
I suppose you can. It depends on how you frame it. Because
I want to Google fate. What does it mean?
Good call.
Yeah, I think it just depends on. I mean, I do believe we have a
predetermined path for your life. Yeah.
Well, as Kerry said, you have choice. I could have chosen to become a doctor. I could have chosen to go down different routes, but I didn't because of the way people came onto my path to guide me. And were they my guardian angels? Probably. I would say all of the people who I've been fortunate enough to work with have been my guardian angels and helped me along the way hugely. And I would say we as practitioners or business owners do the same with people who come along our paths as well. Mm-hmm. So I think people come to see me because they need something that I've got, and then they'll go to someone else and then get what they need from them and along the way, because we're never ever the whole solution ever.
No,
there's always going to be practitioners or people who come to along your path to help you, guide you, and so my professional life has been an apprenticeship, still is, but I'm taking on apprentices now to help them, guide them along the way. So that's my belief is, we choose who we play with in life. We choose our partners or not partners. We choose where we live. But saying that, choose where we live, we live in little old pie here. And why did we choose to live here? And I've often said we live in the back end of the world trying to build a business. But I know energetically we need to be in certain places. We've been positioned in certain places to keep the energy frequency of the planet as it is, because we're changing. Everything's changing and shifting. And if we don't have energy portals to help along, we could potentially lose.
That's a choice.
That's a choice, yes.
It might be a choice, but it's not my choice. But there's a lot of us working together. There's a lot of people working together. So,
Yeah, but it is a choice because you're choosing to stay there and you're not choosing to leave. No. So it's a choice to be there.
I'm not saying it's not a choice, but I know that I'm here for a reason. And so consequently,
I looked up Google's definition of fate, and it said something beyond your control. So I'm out. I'm a no. I don't believe in fate. Everything is in my control. Everything is within my power if I choose it to be. Because I believe in being the conscious creator of my life. I mean, yes, there are still aspects that are unconsciously created, but I'm still the creator of it, and it's within my control. So for me, I'm out on the idea of fate. No. Destiny, yes. Purpose, yes. Fate, no. I'm the conscious creator.
So how then do you explain, big cataclysmic events that, you might get caught up in that completely change the trajectory of your life or take your life, for example?
Collective consciousness. Yeah. I'm still part of the collective consciousness. Again, is a choice. Yeah, but there's many measures that I put into place to make sure that my consciousness is separate from the collective. When I say separate, is that I'm in control of my choices and my actions and where I am at what time and things like that, because we can get swept up in it. There are so many things that I have just missed by a few minutes or things like that, because I make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time by my means that I choose to use.
Or you could say collective unconsciousness too, couldn't you? Because
absolutely, yeah, and I'm part of that too. I have a lot of unconscious stuff that is creating things for me. So, and just layer after layer after layer will keep being unveiled. Because it never ends. The lessons never end if you choose for them not to. And that's the thing. People say, when will you ever settle? It's like, well, I choose not to settle because I choose to continuously and consciously expand myself. And like everyone says to me, why did you just do 30 days of ayahuasca? Surely one day is enough. It's like, yeah, if you want just one transformation, I don't. I want a magnitude of transformation. Why? Because I'm committed to becoming the most expanded spiritual being that I can be, so that I can fulfill my purpose and live out my destiny. And that's my choice to do that.
Yeah.
But yes, one's enough if that's what you choose.
Yeah. So back to the visualizing the future and the gap, and specifically the one we will get caught up on, which is the expectation of how we're going to get to that future state. What are some of the things that you do to bridge that gap?
To help me carry on through the healing crisis when everything just seems utter shit. Number one, cry. No, but first of all, knowing that having the awareness and the understanding that it is a healing crisis, that I am not my experience, I'm just experiencing it. So like what Karen was saying, becoming the observer of that, having the understanding that when you are in the healing crisis, that it is something that you can endure and that it will pass and it's part of the process. But mainly having that future vision to anchor into, to use as a tether to drive me through. But there's also a set of characteristics or mentalities or energies that I will link into as well. And this is where I talk a lot about having the warrior mindset or having the peaceful warrior attitude. Being a warrior isn't necessarily about fighting. Being a warrior is about standing up for what you believe in and creating the future that you want. And certain energies are required in order to be that, such as courageous and resilient and persistent and all of those things. So anchoring into what I call my warrior to enable me to sustain and endure and to get through it. But knowing why I'm fighting, knowing why I'm doing that is the most important thing for me.
Very good. Wow. We've been here for nearly an hour.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, 2 minutes. From one hell of a chat. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, you're coming over to New Zealand. When are you coming over?
End of November. Yeah.
And what are you up to? Are you going to do one of your wonderful walks again?
I am going to be facilitating a bright hike, yes. So Tongariro Crossing is going to be it's going to be the hike of choice. And it's not just the hike, it's the whole retreat weekend. It's a whole experience. It's for anyone who knows that they've got something in them, but they're not quite sure what it is that they are here to produce or to create here in this world. It's for people who know that they're up for more, that they're destined for more, but they want some time and space to be able to really connect to who they are and what their true essence is, their true will is, and what their true dreams are, so that they can start to create the plan to step into that future experience that they really want. It's even for people who haven't got a bloody clue and they just want some time and space to go, who the hell am I? What do I want in life? So you might be at different levels, but it's for the person who wants to learn how to step into and utilize that warrior energy that I talk about. Because if we want to create anything in this world, as I tried to show you earlier, there are generally blocks, whether that be a physical block, whether it be a mental block, a belief block, a spiritual block, an ancestral block, whatever it might be. There will be blocks. Otherwise, you'd have it already in your life, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. And we need the time and the distraction-free space to be able and to put ourselves into an extraordinary place, so that we can actually see what these blocks are. We can see how we stop ourselves. And we need that warrior energy to say no to these blocks, whatever they are, whether they be internal or coming from outside of us. And we also need the warrior energy to have the courage to stand up and say yes to what it is that we do want. Because like the bucket of crabs, you know, once we realize what we want and we start to try and get it, people are going to start, oh, no, we don't want you doing that. So we need the courage to own it, what it is that we do want. We need, first of all, to be able to see it and to feel it, have the courage to say no to what stops us, and the courage to say yes to what we want. Yeah, so that's what this whole weekend is about. Wow, it's about a series of workshops and getting out there with the nature, with the power, the warrior and the strength power that is held within the Tongariro crossing, and challenging yourself, pushing the boundaries on what it is that you're capable of doing so that you can see how your mind operates and that you have the time and space to connect to who you are and what you want. And so you can start to create a plan to get that, to living the life that you bloody love, one of purpose, one of fulfillment, whatever it is that you want.
That's awesome. Fantastic. And Tony Edwards, whose comment I just popped up on the screen, might want to reach out to you because it might be exactly what she's looking for as well.
Yeah.
No, that was lovely. She said that she's just got exactly what she needed to hear today. It's almost as if what we were discussing was said exactly for her. So isn't that lovely?
It was meant to be. Yeah. Yes.
Indeed. Divine timing. Always.
Yeah.
Divine timing. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, so good chatting with you, Carrie. We'll have to get you on again, I reckon. Maybe next time, you know, when you're here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Same time zone.
Yeah.
That'd be easier, wouldn't it?
It's always a wonderful pleasure chatting to both of you. So thank you very much for having me. It really is a pleasure.
Thank you, Carrie. It's awesome.
Yeah,
You can put your fan back on now.
Yeah.
I've got droplets of sweat going down my back. I'm actually going to go and I've actually got to go for a 7K run now before I go and train Muay Thai. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
right, lovely.
But yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.